So if you go on Dodge's website right now at this very moment, you only have two cars to choose from for the 2024 model year from Dodge. And that is going to be the Hornet and that is going to be the Dodge Durango. Right now, Dodge is at a very critical point as to the direction this company can go in. It can go in the right direction and keep going up, or it can really go to a point where Dodge may not exist ever again. Here are a few things that Dodge really needs to be doing if they want to consider being around for much longer. So let's go ahead, let's drop the intro, and let's talk about it. YouTube family, what is going on? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. Thank y'all so much for tuning in on this particular video. If you are new here, we do a lot of car related things on this particular channel, but we will not hold you too long. Let's go ahead and get into the topic of today's video. You see the title and you see the thumbnail, so I feel like this year and next year are probably two of the biggest, most critical years for Dodge when it comes to their future. The cars that have really made this brand and has really put a stamp on the industry are no longer part of Dodge. These cars have carried Dodge for the last few years, and now they're no longer a part of the identity of what is the Brotherhood of Muscle from Dodge. And we've seen all the comments and stuff from people like you and me that are saying right now, Dodge is done for. They're going down the drain. No one's going to buy the EV cars. No one's going to buy into what's going on with Dodge. Why did Dodge get rid of the V8s? And I feel the same way as well. Definitely some uncharted territory for Dodge. Dodge has always been the brand for the people with how they market themselves and how these cars are just really in your face and really out there and really make a presence and invoke some sort of emotion when people see these type of cars on the road at certain events or what have you. But now these cars are completely gone. No more V8s. We are expecting a new Charger to come out. There's been talks about another Challenger coming out, but none of these cars will have a V8 in them anymore. And it's going to be hard to imagine actual muscle cars without V8s. So what does that mean for Dodge? It means we are at a very critical turning point for Dodge, and Dodge needs to be considering doing some different things here. Needs to be considering doing maybe some of these items that I've been thinking about that will help them for years to come and actually help them to make sure they actually are around for years to come. Now, some of these ideas I've been thinking about what Dodge needs to do, they're really ideas just from me. There's not from like the rumor mill or anything like that. It's just kind of speculation based on what realistically that Dodge can do without having V8s in their lineup. How can they keep going with the momentum they have built with these particular cars that I'm sitting in right now? How can they keep building on that and keep the excitement going for this particular brand? One thing Dodge must do, and this is really critical for their success right now, Dodge really has to focus on attracting new customers. As I stated at the top of the video, that a lot of people are saying they're never going to buy another Dodge again. They're done with Dodge, all this, the whole nine. The reason people kept coming back to Dodge because they kept providing cars that people like you and me love to buy. When you go and got, like, some people started with a V6, there was an RT to go to, and then from there people went to a Scat Pack, people went to a Hellcat, and some people maybe skipped around and stuff like that. But it was always some car that was exciting that people always wanted to buy. And right now, starting off 2024. Dodge only has two cars on their website for 2024. Their new cars, the new Dodge Charger isn't listed on there yet. There's no other cars on there. And it's going to be really hard for Dodge to really stay afloat and continue to be a brand where people want to come to buy cars when they don't have anything new out there. A lot of other manufacturers have their cars out there. They all have their 2024s already out there. Meanwhile, Dodge does not have that many 2024s. They only have two. They have a mid-size SUV and a compact SUV, which a lot of people don't typically buy SUVs. And that's all Dodge is offering right now. So pretty much for most of this year, they're not going to have anything new to really offer at this point. Nothing really exciting to offer. But going forward, they have to find a way to attract new customers, and kind of replace some of those customers that won't be coming back to Dodge because of the fact that they don't have the V8s anymore. And since Dodge is going the EV route and the fuel efficient route, they have to do something with these EVs that is going to set them apart from the competition. Now, the main thing that a lot of people don't like EVs for is the fact that, number one, um, they look ugly. And I feel like Dodge is on the right track. The Dodge EV that they have come out does look pretty good, and we're going to assume that it's going to be the same body that they're going to use for the inline six engines and stuff of that nature as well. So the car does look good, but also on top of that, it has to be a car that kind of differentiates itself from the rest of the competition in the EV market. What about this car is going to be different? We know they coined this phrase e-muscle, that they're going to be the first one to do e-muscle cars. What exactly does that mean? So far, they really haven't given us any kind of clues or really told us what it means, what e-muscle in this new category that they invented. And a lot of EVs are really the same, just plug in and that's it. And you have your different power levels and things like that. Of course, they talked about direct connection and being able to mod the car through direct connection, which is going to really suck if you ask me, because you really can't go anywhere else to modify your car. But what is really going to set this car apart from all the other EVs? What other features is going to be out there? They really haven't talked about all the power levels. They really haven't talked about the feature of this particular new EV car. They really haven't talked about the features of the inline six cars or anything like that. On top of that, we don't know what any of these other cars are going to look like when they show these particular EV cars, especially the SRT Banshee. It typically is the car that has all the features on it, the top level, the best trim, the best options, things of that nature. But what will the lower and mid trim cars offer to the customers? What will be out there that those cars will offer that a lot of other EVs do not offer? We have yet to see that. We have yet to see what kind of price range we're looking at as well, because these cars have to be affordable. One thing we have seen over the last few years that these cars have gone up in price substantially. There was days where these Scat Packs would be $40,000 cars. These cars are now $50,000, $60,000 cars. Hellcats used to be kind of low 60,000. Now these Hellcats are going for $90,000 and things of that nature. So what price point will these cars go for, and what kind of horsepower will you be getting out of these particular cars? So if these cars are going to be priced too high, that's going to turn off a lot of people. And go back to my first point where we talked about attracting new customers. You can't attract new customers if your product is too high, and you can't retain your existing customers also if the price is too high. So what will these cars offer? Another thing that Dodge really hasn't answered yet that we definitely need to kind of figure out is what will the entire lineup for Dodge look like going forward. We know the EV is coming. We know the inline six engines are coming, but we really don't know exactly what is coming. There's a lot of speculation, as I said. What exactly models are we seeing coming? We know that this new Charger is supposed to be a two-door Charger, which is kind of a step back if you ask me, because of the fact that how popular the four-door Charger has sold. Now, granted, yes, I know people love the two-door Charger because that's what the Charger always was, but we have to be honest and admit that the four-door Charger was that much more practical. People bought the four-door Charger because of the fact that it was practical. If they only go to a two-door Charger, they may lose out on sales there just because of the fact it is two-door. Now, what they could be doing here is that they could be coming out with a four-door and a two-door Charger, which would kind of appease both markets of people that want to go with the retro two-door style Charger that the Charger is supposed to be, or if you need the practicality of four doors, you have the four-door Charger as an option as well. Now, there's one other thing I think they should do as well, if they're not already considering doing, is the Challenger. There's also been talks that they're coming back out with a Challenger. He even hinted at it at the reveal of the Dodge Demon 170 that they have something for the Challenger, but they haven't talked hardly any about that at all. I think this will be a perfect opportunity to take the Challenger and make it a smaller two-door car. So that way you have a small two-door car, which will be your Challenger, your larger two-door car, which will be your Charger, and your four-door sedan, which will also be your Charger as well. Now, if you're familiar with the current Challenger, It is one of the biggest two-door muscle cars on the market right now. I actually own one, and the trunk space in my Challenger was just as much as my Charger. I didn't lose any trunk space on that. But the biggest gripe about the Challenger was it was such a big, heavy car. We're talking a two-door car that weighs over 4,000 pounds, right? So this will be a good opportunity now to take that car, shrink it down, make it smaller, and appease more people in that aspect. Now, another thing to mention as well, we've been talking a lot about the inline six engines, the Hurricane engines that's supposed to be coming out. We really haven't heard too much about the different power levels for this particular engine. One thing about the engine that we haven't seen as well, we haven't seen this engine being modded or people really pushing the engine to the limit, because really the engine just came out. One thing that could really help this platform take off is if this engine is going to be an engine that can be easily modded for a lot of horsepower. Let's say this engine comes out with 500 horsepower as one of the top power level trims, and if you can easily take that 500 horsepower and turn it into maybe 700 horsepower, I know I'm pushing it right now, then this engine could be something that a lot of people start gravitating towards. To be completely honest, people may buy engines or looking to buy certain engines because of the fact that how well they respond to mods. There are a lot of people that just buy a car because it can mod really well. For example, the Mustang 5.0, people gravitate towards that car if they're looking to mod that car simply because of the fact that how much horsepower you can get out of the car without having to do too much to the engine. If this Hurricane engine can kind of be something similar to that, where you can get a lot of horsepower out of that car without having to do too much to it, a lot of people may buy this particular car or any car with this particular engine solely because of that. There are people that have modded this engine and things of that nature. I haven't really came across it or seen it. If this engine does come out to be a engine that responds extremely well to mods, then I think this is going to be something that's going to help out Dodge in that aspect. Having something that is twin turbo and things of that nature will help it kind of, I think gain horsepower relatively easy, because what you can go in and do, you go out and switch out the turbos, make them bigger, things of that nature, and now you have a car that has much more horsepower. We see people do it with other platforms with similar engines here before, and I think if this could do the same thing, I think this will bode well, because right now, unfortunately, not a lot of the Dodge engines are really moddable that well or respond to mods. Of course, the 5.7 is the best one, one of the better ones to build off of, but it is severely down on horsepower compared to the other engines. Now, the 6.4, you got a lot of horsepower out of an NA engine, but it doesn't respond well to mods. And right now, the best engine you can build off of, I feel, for dollar would be the Hellcat engine. Just because of the fact it's ready for boost and you can take it to the next level of that. A lot of people have done it with the Hellcat. But outside of that, Dodge's engines don't mod really well from top to bottom. But if this Hurricane inline 6 engine can do so, I think it will be a game changer for Dodge. Now, last but not least, I think this is one of the biggest things Dodge can do right now. I think this is the perfect time for Dodge to make this particular move. Right now, based on Dodge's lineup and what they have told to us, the top car for Dodge will be the SRT Banshee. Apparently, that's going to be the car with 900 horsepower, blase, all that type of stuff. But unfortunately, it is an EV car. What Dodge needs as well to add to the lineup is going to be a top performing car that is gas powered. And I think this will be the perfect time for Dodge to bring back the Viper. Now, I know what you're thinking. We talked about they can't bring back the V8s. Why would they bring in a V10? Well, I think the Viper, and this, some people may think it's going to be sacrilegious. I think they could bring back the Viper and not put a V10 in the Viper. So what engine should they put in it? Definitely not make it an EV, but I do think put your best twin turbo inline 6 engine into the Viper, and here's why. There's so many cars out there right now that are running some sort of 6-cylinder engine, and they can be modded to produce a lot of horsepower and also come out of the factory with a lot of horsepower as well. For example, we know the twin turbo engine that comes in the GTR, that the Nissan GTR can put down a lot of power. We're talking 4-digit horsepower with a few mods and things of that nature. Well, not just a few mods, but it's definitely possible, right? And there's other cars that can do it as well with a 6-cylinder engine. Now, granted, I know the Viper never came with a 6-cylinder engine, and this will kind of be sacrilegious to put that into the Viper, but We've seen other manufacturers do that with their top car. For example, Ford, the Ford GT, that used to come with a V8 if I'm not mistaken, and now the new Ford GT, which is no longer in production, comes with an EcoBoost engine. But however, because of the styling of that car still will turn heads wherever it goes. That car is in a league of its own for what it is. This will be a good opportunity for Dodge to bring back the Viper to compete with those type of cars and have something that can be a light sports car. No 4,000-pound car. We're talking a car that weighs lower 3,000 pounds. I think this Viper is like low 3,000. I think it's actually maybe like around 2,000 because it's like carbon fiber and things of that nature. This will be a good time for Dodge to do that. This is when Dodge can bring back this car and this inline six engine that they have. And if it's moddable, like I said before, and you can get maybe 4-digit horsepower out of it, I think people will gravitate to this particular car. Because right now, as it stands, we know the Viper with that V10 can be modded to well over like 3,000 horsepower or something crazy like that. There's plenty of Vipers running around with that much horsepower in it. So if they are able to get a inline six or 6-cylinder engine in this car that's twin turbo that can maybe be modded up to something close to that, I think that would definitely solidify the Viper being the king of the streets again. And this is the good time to bring that car back right now. People have been wanting the Viper. People have been asking about the Viper. And I think this is the time to bring that car back and let it be your flagship car. Well, those are my thoughts. That is what I feel like Dodge should be doing right now in the next couple of years to make sure they are still around. Right now, we're in a cycle, right? And this is kind of a cycle we've seen before where they start producing these big engines and they have to cut back and then they're able to come back again and whatnot. But now we're to the point where they can't do it. In order for them to get to a point, if it even is allowed anymore in the future, they have to be around for it. If the government regulations kind of relax a little bit and allow them to make V8s again, they have to be around for it. They have to survive. And these next 2 years are going to be really crucial to Dodge survival. If they can't get past these next 2 years, it's going to be really ugly for them. And they may go to a point where we're talking about Dodge as a discontinued company and gone and no longer here and extinct. So I know I've been ragging on Dodge for the last few videos talking about how they're dropping the ball, doing this, that, and the third. At the end of the day, I'm really passionate about Dodge. I really want them to succeed because, in fact, I do enjoy what they do for the automotive industry and the kind of the cars they be dropping and kind of the vibe that they give us and things of that nature. But like I said, I want them to succeed. I want them to do well, and I want them to be around. So hopefully, these cars that they're coming out with, and hopefully do have some things planned for us that are going to be exciting, that's going to create a buzz, and that's going to be, most importantly, create some sales for this company. Having 2 cars for your whole model year doesn't look good. So they need to be able to have something out there to be able to sell to the people, and hopefully they have something, coming that they haven't really mentioned that's going to cause a buzz here. So let me know your thoughts. What do you think Dodge should do outside of bringing back the V8s that will help them going forward? What would you like to see Dodge do here right now and going forward? If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for making this far in the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We want you around for the long haul. As always, thank y'all for tuning in. We're going to catch you next video. We are out. Cut it.